Have you ever woken up, looked at the sunlight streaming through the window, and instead of feeling hope or excitement for the day ahead, you felt a heavy, silent weight in your chest? It is a specific kind of morning silence that many of us know all too well. It isn't just that the house is quiet. It feels as though your own spirit is quiet, perhaps even a little empty. You might tell yourself that you are just tired, or that this is simply what it feels like to get older, or maybe that you are just a lonely person now. But what if I told you that this heavy feeling isn't a character flaw, and it isn't a permanent sentence of aging? What if that lack of motivation to call a friend or step outside isn't just in your head, but is actually starting in your breakfast bowl? Science has discovered a profound link between what we eat in the first hour of our day and our ability to feel joy and connection. There is a specific biological reason you feel this way, and the solution might just be delicious. Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Emily Hart, and I'm here to help you navigate your best years with science, heart, and a little bit of practical wisdom. I am so glad you have chosen to spend some time with me today. Before we dive into the fascinating science of the happy hormone, I would love to know who is sitting around our virtual table today. Tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? I love seeing where our community of strong, resilient women comes together from all corners of the globe. And if you haven't already, please do click that subscribe button so we can keep learning and growing together. Let's talk about that morning blues paradox. I want to start by validating something that I think many women over 60 experience, but rarely talk about openly. It is that sense of isolation that hits you the moment you wake up. We often pathologize this. We tell ourselves, I must be depressed, or I'm just lonely because my children are grown or my partner is gone. And while those life circumstances are real and they are significant, there is a biological layer underneath that we often ignore. When you wake up feeling low, devoid of that spark to engage with the world, your body is trying to send you a signal. It is not saying you are sad, it is saying, I am running on empty. Think of your body like a beautiful vintage car. If you try to start that car on a cold morning and the tank is filled with the wrong kind of fuel, the engine is going to sputter. It might not start at all. You wouldn't blame the car for being lazy, would you? You would check the fuel. Your brain works the exact same way. That feeling of emotional flatness, that resistance to picking up the phone to call a friend, is often a chemical shortage. Specifically, a shortage of the neurotransmitters that allow you to feel connected to others. We tend to separate our emotional lives from our physical lives, thinking our feelings float around in the air while our bodies digest food, but they are inextricably linked. That morning heaviness is a biological invitation to change your fuel source. And once you realize that, the shame of feeling lonely begins to lift, replaced by the power to do something about it. But to understand how to fix it, we have to look in a very surprising place. We aren't going to look at your heart or even your brain just yet. We're going to look at your stomach. And while that simple shift in focus can make a world of difference, there is a surprising, almost magical highway inside your body that connects your digestion to your deepest emotions, which is exactly what we are going to explore next. This brings us to a concept that has revolutionized how we understand mental health and aging, the second brain. For decades, we thought the brain in our skull was the absolute commander of our mood. We thought that if you felt sad or lonely, the problem was entirely between your ears. But modern science has uncovered a secret conversation that is happening inside you 24 hours a day. It is called the gut-brain axis. Imagine a direct, high-speed telephone line that runs from the deepest part of your gut all the way up to your brainstem. This is the vagus nerve. It is the longest nerve in your body, and it is constantly sending messages back and forth. Here is the part that truly shocks most people. Your gut does more of the talking than your brain does. In fact, roughly 90% of the messages on this telephone line are going from your stomach up to your head, not the other way around. Your gut is constantly reporting on the state of your union. If your gut is inflamed or unhappy, or crucially, starved of the right nutrients, it picks up that red phone and screams to your brain, "We are in trouble. Conserve energy. Stay inside. Don't socialize." Your brain hears this distress signal and translates it into an emotion, anxiety, sadness, or a desire to isolate yourself. Conversely, when your gut is nourished and calm, it whispers a different message up that vagus nerve. It says, "All is well. We are safe. Go out and explore." This is why we say you have a second brain in your belly. But it gets even more specific than that. You have probably heard of serotonin. It is often called the happy hormone, though it is technically a neurotransmitter. It is the chemical responsible for stabilizing your mood, giving you a sense of well-being, and, surprisingly, regulating your social behavior. Now, if I asked you where serotonin is made, you would probably guess the brain, right? Here's the reality. Nearly 95% of your body's serotonin is produced in your gut. Let that sink in for a moment. 95% of the chemical that allows you to feel happy, content, and socially connected is manufactured in your digestive tract. So, if your gut environment isn't optimized, or if you aren't giving it the raw materials it needs, your brain simply cannot produce the feeling of happiness. It is physically impossible. You can attend all the social clubs in the world, but if your internal chemistry is flatlining because of your breakfast, you will still feel that pang of disconnection. So if the factory for your happiness is located in your belly, we need to ask the most important question. What raw materials does this factory need to keep the lights on? This brings us to the star of our show, tryptophan. I like to think of your body as a construction site. Your body wants to build serotonin. It wants to build that structure of happiness and motivation. But your body cannot build serotonin out of thin air. It cannot conjure it from nothing. It needs specific building blocks. The primary building block for serotonin is an amino acid called tryptophan. Here is the catch, and it is a big one. Your body cannot make tryptophan on its own. Some things our bodies can manufacture, but tryptophan is what we call an essential amino acid. In biological terms, essential means you must eat it. If you do not put tryptophan into your mouth, you cannot have serotonin in your brain. It is that simple. Think of it like baking a cake. You can have the best oven, the best pans, and the best recipe. But if you do not have flour, you are not getting a cake. Tryptophan is the flour for your happiness cake. When you eat foods rich in tryptophan, your body breaks them down, absorbs this amino acid, and sends it on a journey. It travels across the blood-brain barrier, where it is converted into 5-HTP, and finally, into serotonin. This process is the biological pathway to unlocking joy. Without enough tryptophan circulating in your system, your serotonin levels drop. And when serotonin drops, the world feels darker, problems feel bigger, and crucially for us, the effort required to interact with other people feels insurmountable. You might love your friends, but without tryptophan, the chemical spark required to engage with them is missing. Now, you might be wondering, okay, Dr. Emily, I understand I need this building block, but where do I find it? Do I need expensive supplements? The answer is a resounding no. You might be surprised to learn that the very best sources are things you probably already have in your fridge right now, and one of them is the victim of a very unfair myth. Let's build your happy hormone breakfast menu. We're looking for foods that are high in tryptophan, but also easy for your body to digest and utilize in the morning. The Trinity of Happiness for your breakfast plate consists of 3 simple, affordable ingredients: turkey, eggs, and cheese. Let's start with turkey, because I can practically hear you thinking, turkey for breakfast? And doesn't turkey make you sleepy? This is one of the biggest myths in nutrition history, and I want to clear it up right now because it is fascinating. We all associate turkey with that heavy, napping on the couch feeling after Thanksgiving dinner. We blame the tryptophan in the turkey for the food coma. But wait, really? If tryptophan boosts serotonin and makes us feel good, why would it knock us out? Here's the truth. Turkey does not make you sleepy. The massive amount of carbohydrates, the potatoes, the stuffing, the pie that you eat alongside the turkey, causes an insulin spike that leads to that crash. The turkey itself is actually a high-protein alertness booster. It is packed with tryptophan that, when eaten without a mountain of heavy carbs, actually promotes a calm, focused energy. A slice or two of high-quality deli turkey or leftover roasted turkey in the morning is a potent dose of mood-stabilizing fuel. Next, let's look at eggs. Eggs are nature's multivitamin, but specifically regarding our mood, they are gold. The yolk is rich in tryptophan as well as choline, which is vital for brain function. When you scramble 2 eggs in the morning, you are essentially throwing a handful of happiness building blocks into the pan. And finally, cheese. Dairy products are excellent sources of tryptophan. A little bit of cheddar or Swiss cheese added to those eggs doesn't just make them taste like comfort food, it adds a chemical layer of emotional stability. When you combine these, perhaps a turkey and cheese omelet or a hard-boiled egg with a slice of turkey in the morning, you are creating a meal that is scientifically designed to support your second brain. You are giving that factory in your gut exactly what it needs to start production for the day. But eating these foods does more than just make you feel good inside. It actually changes how you interact with the outside world in a way you might not expect. We call this the ripple effect, moving from biological balance to social motivation. This is where the science of nutrition meets the psychology of loneliness. We often think of loneliness as a situation. I am alone in this room. But loneliness is also a perception and a motivation state. There is a difference between being alone and feeling lonely. There is also a huge difference between being alone and having the energy to change it. Let's play out a scenario. Imagine it is 10 a.m. Your phone rings. It is a friend asking if you want to meet for coffee. If your serotonin levels are low because you skipped breakfast or ate just toast and jam, your immediate visceral reaction might be shrinking away. You might feel a flash of irritation or anxiety. You think, I look tired, or it's too much effort to get dressed, or I don't have anything to say. You let it go to voicemail. That is the low serotonin brain trying to conserve energy and protect you. Now imagine that same phone ringing at 10 a.m., but you had a turkey and cheese omelet at 8 a.m. Your gut has processed that tryptophan, your serotonin levels are rising. When the phone rings, the barrier to answering feels lower. You might still feel a little tired, but that crushing weight of "it's too hard" is lifted. You are chemically more predisposed to say yes. Serotonin is the molecule of social dominance and affiliation. It makes us feel safe enough to connect. By changing your breakfast, you are essentially lowering the activation energy required to be social. It becomes easier to smile at the cashier. It becomes easier to call your daughter. It becomes easier to walk out the front door. You are not just feeding your stomach, you are feeding your desire to be part of the world again. However, there is a catch. You can't just eat these foods at any time of day and expect the same magic. There is a specific window of opportunity that nature has given us, and if we miss it, we lose a lot of the benefit. Timing is everything. You might be thinking, well, I love turkey. I'll just have it for dinner. And while that is healthy, it won't help you cure that morning loneliness. We need to talk about the cortisol awakening response. When you wake up in the morning, your body naturally spikes a hormone called cortisol. We often think of cortisol as the stress hormone and therefore bad, but in the morning it is essential. It is what wakes you up and gets you out of bed. However, for many women over 60, this morning cortisol spike can feel too intense, leading to anxiety or that doom feeling we talked about earlier. Here is why breakfast is the critical window. Eating protein and tryptophan within the first hour or two of waking helps to blunt that cortisol spike. It signals to your body that resources are available, that you are not in a famine, and that you are safe. By introducing tryptophan right when your day begins, you are setting the chemical tone for the next 12 hours. If you wait until noon to eat protein, you have let your stress hormones run wild all morning, and your serotonin production is playing catch up. You are trying to fill the tank while the car is already speeding down the highway. By eating a happy hormone breakfast, you are front-loading your day with stability. You are preventing the afternoon slump, and crucially, you are stabilizing your mood during the hours when you are most likely to be active and have the opportunity to socialize. You are preparing your brain for connection before the opportunity for connection even arises. Now that we know the when and the what, let's put it all together into a routine you will actually look forward to. I want to invite you to view your breakfast differently starting tomorrow. For so many of us, especially if we live alone, cooking can feel like a chore. We think, why bother making a mess just for me? I'll just have tea and toast. I want you to challenge that thought. I want you to see your morning meal as a prescription for connection. It is an act of profound self-care. Your new ritual doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as keeping hard-boiled eggs in the fridge and wrapping a slice of deli turkey around one. It can be scrambling an egg with a handful of pre-shredded cheddar cheese. It takes 5 minutes. But as you prepare it, I want you to visualize what you are doing. You are not just silencing a grumbling stomach. You are assembling the building blocks of joy. You are inviting resilience into your body. Picture this. You walk into your kitchen, you put the kettle on, you take out the eggs and the turkey. As you eat, remind yourself, I am fueling my ability to connect. I am feeding my happiness. This mental shift turns a mundane task into a powerful ritual. And as you nourish your gut, you will find that the silence of the house feels less heavy. You might find yourself humming along to the radio. You might find yourself picking up the phone just to say hello. We have covered a lot of ground today, from the silence of the morning to the chemistry of the gut, and finally to the plate in front of you. If you take one thing away from our time together, let it be this. Your loneliness is not a life sentence, and it is not a reflection of your worth. It is, in many ways, a state of biological imbalance that you have the power to influence. You have the tools. You understand now that by simply inviting tryptophan into your morning, through turkey, eggs, or cheese, you are turning on the lights in your second brain. You are giving your body the permission and the power to produce the serotonin that makes life feel vibrant and connected. So, here's my challenge to you. Tomorrow morning, before you do anything else, treat yourself to a happy hormone breakfast. Try it for just 3 days. Pay attention to how your mood shifts by mid-morning. Pay attention to how much easier it feels to smile. And please, come back and tell me how it goes. I want to hear your stories in the comments below. Did you try the turkey? Did you notice a difference in your energy? Our community is stronger when we share our experiences. If you found this helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with a friend who might need a little morning boost. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss a guide to living your best, most vibrant life. I'm Dr. Emily Hart. Remember, you are built for connection, and it all starts with what you put on your plate. Until next time, take care of yourselves and eat well.